Hello there. It's ANZAC Day today, and you might have already gone to a dawn service this morning, or maybe going to a service a little bit later this afternoon, or commemorating in your own way. ANZAC Day is one of those events that you'll find most New Zealanders totally agree with. It's something that we need to do. It's a very important thing for us to do to recognise those people who have laid down their life, who have gone and served for our freedoms. This ANZAC Day is a little bit different though, and I don't think a lot of people have realised this, and there's a couple of different fronts that it's being attacked on, which is really strange. So the first one is actually on the budget it takes to put on these events, because these events, they're not free. If you're in somewhere like the Auckland Domain this morning, you may have noticed less security guards around, or less security infrastructure in place, because that budget was cut about 6 weeks ago. But on top of that, during this budget cutting process that Auckland Council has to go through, where they've got to find nearly $300 million, at least 6 elected representatives from around the city, boards and council, have recommended cancelling ANZAC Day commemoration services altogether. Their logic is it doesn't cost anything for people to stand at the end of their driveway, like they did during lockdown. Which logically makes sense, but part of the commemoration service is about coming together and to remember together as a group, keeping those memories alive and making sure that the next generation down knows what was sacrificed is really important to make sure that we remember what it was that was being fought for at each of the times that we've deployed military overseas. Standing at the end of the driveways is a beautiful sentiment, and it was a really clever way being able to do that during lockdown, but it's not the most important or effective way, I think, for us to remember those people. The other way that it's being attacked is actually from those same people who you see at all of these really shitty events doing really shitty things, like dressing up as Nazis. Who would have guessed that Nazis were not fans of the people who went over to fight the Nazis? Also, fucking Nazis. Why is that a thing again? These people have been hitting comment threads on advertising around what events are happening for ANZAC Day and how these services are going to go ahead, complaining that ANZAC Day doesn't represent them, that the spirit that these ANZAC soldiers went off and fought in does not represent their perspectives. How could it possibly represent their perspectives after everything that the government did to them? Because they chose not to help out other people when it came to things like vaccines and lockdowns and mandates. So it's all the government's fault. But these are the people who are ramping things up, whose violent rhetoric is getting louder and louder and louder at the moment, which is a real concern. But today it is really important to remember New Zealanders went off and died to fight against the Nazis and fascists and that type of oppressive behaviour. We should not at all be considering it a normal thing to have it back.